Okay, this is part 2 of your subject-verb agreement tutorial. In this one, you're going to have to determine whether the verb is in agreement with the subject and fix it. So let's walk through at least 3 of these sentences. You know from the first tutorial that the standard sentence order in English is typically subject, verb, object. So you know that the subject, the thing performing the verb, is going to be towards the front of the sentence. In this case, when is not a noun, so that would never be the subject. But here we have a noun phrase, the jury, and that is towards the front of the sentence. We're going to guess that that is the subject performing the action of the verb. Of townspeople, this is just a way of adding additional information about the jury. For all intents and purposes, we can pretend it doesn't exist in the sentence. It's just distracting. Um, I would recommend on your upcoming ACT that you actually cross out in your booklet if you have a question like this. Mark it up, use your annotation, try to determine what the real subject is that's performing the action of the verb. All right, so in this case, we want to see if the jury, which is, we need to determine if it's singular or plural to see how we fix this verb or if it needs fixed. All right, the jury present the verdict. When the jury present the verdict, Simba will listen in anticipation. Um, Best way I can explain this is just try it with your ear. Your ear has been soaking up language since you were in the womb. If English is your first language, um, your ear will be a pretty good determiner of whether that sounds right or not. If English is your second language or third, then what you want to determine is if this is singular, you want an S on the end of the verb. If it is plural, if you have an S here, you do not have an S here. So in English, if your noun is singular, the verb will not have an S on it. If your noun is plural or not singular, I'm drawing an X over that, then your verb will have an S on it. Let's talk through that. Plural of jury would be juries. So when, this is awkward, I should use my finger. When juries present, let's just look at that pattern. You have an S here, it's plural, so you would not want an S here. In other words, this verb form agrees with the plural form of jury. In this case, we do not have an S, so we need an S here. I'm going to go in and fix that. I will move a little quicker in the next few. If English is your first language, you probably don't need me to break it down quite this far. Okay, submit answer. Correct. Let's try this without quite so much markup. 2 litters of kittens sleeps peacefully in the basket under Severus Snape's bed. We need to determine the actual subject. We know the preferred sentence order is subject, verb, object. Here we have 2 litters at the front and then something modifying the litters. So we know any modifiers we can throw out. And this actually is your subject. Now in this case, the subject is plural. And we know if we have an S here, we do not want this S here. Let's see if that works. I'm going to click in there and delete that S and show you what I've done. 2 litters sleep peacefully in the basket under Severus Snape's bed. Let's see if that's correct. Yes, it is. Okay, I'll do 2 more quickly before we move on to the third part. Two groups of chefs helps Lucius Malfoy cook dinner for his guests. Again, subject is going to be towards the front, so we need to determine what the subject is. I'll be consistent. And if there are any modifiers, which there are, the of chefs is just additional information, non-essential to the sentence. Two groups helps. Notice you have an S here and an S here, so we know that's incorrect. We want to get rid of the S here. We will see if that works. I'm going to click into that box and change it. Delete the S. Check our answer. And that is correct. Okay, I'm going to tune out and then show you the third part of this so you can finish your assignment.